Hey guys, welcome back to my channel.
Hitting that bitch for the five. Now it's me, yeah. Hitting that boy at the five.
So what is up? How's everyone doing? So nice to see you guys again. So nice for us to be, sitting down, having a little chat. I love me some hygiene. I love me some hygiene videos. I like watching them. I like filming them. It's a good time. I'm all about some new hygiene products. I'm all about putting you guys onto some products. All about sharing my advice, what I like to do to take care of my body. And I'm excited to show you guys that information today. If you guys watch my YouTube videos, but you don't follow me on Instagram, you wouldn't have known that I got a new tattoo recently. So if y'all see this on my arm and you're confused, I did get a tattoo like a couple days ago. So it's still in the process of healing. That's that. But in today's video, I've done hygiene videos. I've shared my hygiene routine. But when it comes to periods specifically and how I like to, just take care of myself while I'm on my period, I haven't really done a video dedicated to that or, steered more towards like the period realm. And I thought that would be a really good topic to, speak on with you guys, because I'm not saying I'm the most knowledgeable, but some people just want to learn more about them. And then other people literally don't have anybody to talk to about periods. But it's such a natural and normal thing. But it's really helpful to have somebody to give you some sort of structure when you're going through this time, especially if it's your first time or you're just starting to get your period. It can be scary to, speak up and ask people about it. So I'm here to be your big sister to kind of share with you guys my advice that I would like to share with you on just how to make this experience better for you, how to stay fresh, how to feel clean, how to deal with cramps, things of that nature. So without further ado, let's get started. So I have everything written down, kind of like the order I would like to lay out this video. And the first thing I wanted to go over is just like some typical assumptions that maybe you have about periods or other people may have about periods that you've heard and you're just not sure if they're true or not. And I'm here to read those assumptions for you guys and just give you my perspective and my personal experience on them. Maybe clear the air for you guys a little bit. I don't know why he's there, but we're just gonna let him do his thing. Okay, so I had people send me some assumptions on my spam account on Instagram. If you're not following it, highly recommend. That's the most active social media I am on. That's where you guys are the most interactive on. You get all the behind the scenes, everything firsthand, and then also you have plenty of chances to be featured in future videos. So I definitely recommend you follow that account. So the first thing that somebody said is that so many people assume that we're exaggerating how painful it is. So this is definitely an assumption that a lot of people have, not to put it on a certain gender, but a lot of males feel like we're over exaggerating or it's really not that bad. They have it worse. It's like getting kicked in the balls, blah blah blah. Everybody's period experience is different. Everybody's body is different. Everybody's cramps are different. Everybody's experience is different. I'm gonna speak for the ladies that do get really bad cramps, that this is not true. A lot of people go through terrible cramping when they're on their period, where it's literally unbearable, literally crying because it's so painful, and it sucks because sometimes there's things you could do to tolerate it to an extent. There may be things to kind of make it a little more mellowed down, but sometimes like the period cramps are so bad, you just kind of have to let them run their course, go through their cycle, because sometimes like some Advil, whatever you're taking to help manage them just doesn't do enough for you. I think some people definitely can exaggerate about their periods. I definitely think some people take being on their period to their advantage of, treating people certain ways or not having to do certain things, this and that, and I don't blame them, but they can definitely be as painful as girls are saying they are. So the next one I'm reading is that your coochie doesn't have to smell like flowers. It's probably gonna smell like metal. This I can agree with, because especially whenever you're on your period, don't stress yourself out to literally smell like rose petals all the time. Even whenever you're not on your period, don't stress yourself out to do that, but especially when you're on your period. I'm not saying we're gonna be out there smelling like fish. I'm not saying we're not going to, be supervising the area, but for her to say it's gonna smell like metal is facts. Like, that makes sense, because blood has iron in it, which is going to smell like metal. I don't know if I've necessarily like smelled metal, but like it's definitely gonna smell more like metal than flowers. We'll just go with that. So the next one that I'm seeing is that someone told me you can get pregnant while being on your period. Sorry to break it to you, but you can. It may be less likely for you to get pregnant while you're on your period, but it is most definitely possible to get pregnant while on your period. So somebody asked me, this isn't really an assumption, but I did want to answer it. They said, do you ever feel embarrassed talking about this type of stuff? So when I was younger and I was just starting to get my period, I definitely felt like kind of weird talking about it. I would kind of beat around the bush and not really say things for how they are, as if they're not normal. But whenever you're younger, and especially if you grew up with people around you acting like it's something that just doesn't happen, you can learn to think, you can grow to think that it's like something you should just kind of feel uncomfortable and uneasy with, but it is so natural and it is nothing to be ashamed of. I know when I have kids, as they get older, that'll never be something that's not talked about. It should be talked about. It's not something to be ashamed of. We're all dealing with it. It's literally just a natural cycle that your body goes through, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. So the next assumption is that tampons are uncomfortable the first couple of times. So this is different for everybody because everybody's experience with that can be different. But for me, the first couple of times using tampons was definitely uncomfortable because sis didn't know what she was doing. I tried my best, you know, I was looking up WikiHow tutorials on how to put a tampon in. It was just super confusing for me. We'll get into that more later, but it can definitely be uncomfortable your first couple of times because if it is not inserted correctly, it is going to be uncomfortable and you are going to feel it. With more repetition and the more consistently I started to use them, I got used to it and I realized what I needed to critique for it to not be uncomfortable when it was inside me. But it's okay for it to be a little uncomfortable your first couple of times, but it should never hurt. The last one says, my mom says when you use a tampon after your... My mom says when that you should... It's the grammar for me. So this is basically revolving around the topic of your tampon making you lose your virginity. I saw a lot of people speak about this in the assumptions. Actually, they were saying like their moms won't let them use tampons because they think it'll take your virginity. I mean, last time I checked, a tampon does not look like a to me. Inserting a tampon is not sexual whatsoever, and it's most definitely not a penetrating your cooch. So those are the couple of assumptions that I had saved that I wanted to answer in this video because those are things that I do hear pretty often and I wanted to kind of just clarify on my point of view about them. So now that I've gone over some assumptions that I feel like are pretty common when it comes to periods, we're gonna go ahead and hop into this video and get into the first topic of how I like to manage my period. All right, so the first thing that I want to go over is tampons versus pads. I'm basically just going to go over all of the feminine hygiene products I use. Not what I use to like keep myself clean or anything like that yet. I just want to go over, you know, just the things I actually use to manage the blood. You know, pads, tampons, liners, things like that. So I have some tampons here and I'm going to go over the tampons I'm using at the moment first. So these are by the brand Rael. Honestly, I'm not sure. I had not seen this brand until... Okay, I'm sorry, my camera literally died. But anyways, I was going over these tampons, right? And these are the organic cotton core tampons with plant-based compact applicators. So the reason why these are different from regular tampons is because these tampons are better for the earth. Some people don't like to use tampons because they're not good for the earth. A lot of them are not biodegradable and they're just not good for the environment, which I completely understand, and I'd like to move over to other methods. But I did pick these up and I do feel like not only are these better for the environment, but they're also better for you. Because if you guys are not aware, a majority of tampon brands, they include bleach in their products. They literally put bleach in the tampons and that is going inside of you, which of course is not good for your vagina. So that's why I went and picked these up. They're chlorine free and fragrance free, and usually whenever I get tampons, I go with the regular version because my flow it's normally not the heaviest, so I don't need the biggest tampons. But when I tell you my last period went so hard for no reason, like when I tell you blood everywhere, and when I tell you that's really normal for a lot of people, but for me it's not. Like that's not how my period usually is. So I was really confused, but I wasn't mad because I wasn't dealing with like major cramps, so like it was okay. Yeah, it really just depends on your flow. They have different options of like the sizes you can get when it comes to tampons, but keep in mind, like the bigger the tampon, the size of the actual applicator that goes inside of you rarely changes. I've realized with any size I use. For these are actually, the applicator's a little bit bigger than other ones I've seen, but there's some tampons with smaller applicators that literally last like 30 minutes and that shit is full. But keep in mind, no matter the size, it should not hurt. You shouldn't even feel it as long as it's put in correctly. So I'm gonna go ahead and open these up and just show you what they look like. This is what these tampons look like. They come in this cute pink packaging, and I'm gonna open one up. I'm gonna sacrifice the tampon for y'all so you can see what it looks like. But this is what the applicator looks like. These are actually a lot smaller than I remember. This is what a tampon looks like. I swear, like before I actually started using tampons, they were so scary looking to me. Before I knew what a tampon was, it just scared the shit out of me. It can be really nerve-wracking your first few times, and I mean, some people never use them, they're never comfortable with them, which is okay, but I guess I'm just one of those people that learned to adjust, and then once I got used to them, I preferred them over pads. So basically the way you use a tampon, or my advice on how I use a tampon. So you have your tampon, right? Whenever you put it in, you don't just put it in like this. What you have to do is you have to pull out this plastic piece. You pull out this plastic piece until you kind of, you know, it kind of locks. It usually will naturally kind of stop. It'll kind of tell you when it's time, like, okay, like, no need to pull anymore. So once it's like this, don't be afraid, because you don't put this whole thing inside of you. This is not gonna go inside of you. The only reason you pull this from the base is because you need something that's going to allow you to actually push the cotton piece, which is the actual tampon, inside of your vagina. Once you pull this applicator out, where so many people go wrong when it's time to put a tampon in, somewhere where I went wrong the first couple of times, I went through so many tampons, wasted so many tampons trying to get it to go in. But what I was missing, the fact I was missing, was that you're not supposed to put it in straight forward. You don't put it in straight up. You know why? It's literally gonna feel like you're hitting a wall. Like, it's not gonna go straight up, and the reason is because your vagina, it doesn't work like that. The way I find it easiest to apply a tampon, for me, I mean, I've been using tampons for years, so I'll literally just kind of put it in while I'm standing up, good to go. But whenever I first started, the way I was finally able to get it in was sitting down on the floor, right? I sat down on the floor, you know, on my butt, legs open, so I could see what I was doing. I also had a mirror in front of me because I needed to see where it was going. This gave me more guidance on where the tampon was going to be going. And whenever you're sitting down, it's a lot easier to kind of just, you know, you put it in an angle, but you're also kind of going up at the same time. Whenever you find the right spot where it's supposed to go in, it should not be hard to push it up. Like, once you find the spot, it should just kind of effortlessly go up there. Another mistake that a lot of people make is not putting it in far enough. And a lot of people are scared to put it in, you know, too far, or they think like it's not gonna come back out, but that's what the string is for. The string is what's going to allow you to actually pull it out later. The string is supposed to stay outside of your vagina, so when it's time to take it out, you have easy access to pull it out. If the tampon is not in far enough, you're going to feel it. You know you've put it in far enough when you literally feel absolutely nothing once it's inserted. So what I like to do is I'll literally put it in all the way till the very end of this piece right here. This piece right here, not this piece. This one right here. Whenever it gets all the way to this point is when I know, like, okay, I'm good. So once I have it pushed up to this part right here, you push this piece in, and look, whenever you push this up, you push this piece, and that's what's going to actually insert the tampon into your vagina. So you push it all the way to the part that is sticking outside of your vagina, and at this point the tampon is in you. This is why it's not supposed to hurt. This is all that's going in you. Whenever this is inside of you, this is when I realized this shit is actually really small. That's crazy. But it consumes so much liquid. It holds so much liquid. It's like a sponge. It's going to expand once it's inside of you. So don't be alarmed when it's time to take it out and it's like 3 times the size it was when you put it in. That's how you know it's doing its job, is when you take it out and it expanded. The blood is inside of this. Maybe if you're used to wearing pads, it would usually just be laying on the pad. But in this case, the tampon catches the blood before it can even reach your pad, before it can even reach your underwear. So it's already absorbing the blood before it even has the chance to come out, if that makes sense. So that's basically how a tampon works. You know, you leave the string, you know, out, and that's it. You throw this plastic piece away and you're literally good to go. So I feel like that took me so long to explain, but I hope that helped you guys a little bit and was informative for you guys to kind of have a better experience inserting the tampon, because it can be so scary. When I tell you the first couple of times I nearly fainted trying to put it in, and I don't mean to scare you if you're trying to, you know, build up to putting a tampon in and you are already nervous. I just get nauseous really easily. I faint really easily. I don't know, it was just scary to me. But once I started to do it, like now, that shit is effortless. Like, it literally takes me like less than 10 seconds. Maybe 5 seconds. It's so easy. You just have to kind of get the hang of it, practice, you know, get a couple extra boxes of tampons so you got, you know, ones to practice with, because it can be a little confusing at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's like second nature. So then when it comes to pads, I do prefer tampons over pads, and let me explain why. The reason I like tampons better is because, first of all, I could wear whatever type of underwear I want when I have a tampon in. Whenever you wear a pad, especially when it's a bigger pad, you have to wear certain underwear for the pad to be able to actually like hook onto it, and I just get paranoid that, like, if I'm wearing underwear and I want to wear a pad and I want to wear, like, let's say some leggings, I just feel like it's going to be visible from the outside. You know, maybe, you know, just don't wear leggings when you're on your period, but I just feel like a tampon, since the only thing that's really outside of you is a string, you can literally wear whatever, do whatever, go swimming, you know, if you're active, you play a sport. It's just a lot more efficient for a lot of people. Another reason that I like tampons over pads is because, like I said before, tampons catch the blood before it even has the chance to be on your underwear, before it even has the chance to be exposed to oxygen. Blood does not stink until it hits oxygen. I'm not saying you can't smell good when wearing pads, but your blood is exposed to oxygen, which gives you more of a chance of, you know, smelling a little something. But then again, people that use tampons and they don't change them nearly enough, they could also, you know, have a little scent that we don't really want to smell. That's just my personal preference on why I like to use tampons. It's just super efficient and easy for me, and I can wear whatever. But the reason I do wear pads is because, you know, nighttime. For like maybe a couple months, I was wearing tampons to bed. But the reason I don't recommend this is because tampons at max are only supposed to be inside of you for 7 to 8 hours. I mean, with my fucked up sleeping schedule that I have now, that can maybe work, but you don't want to leave a tampon in for 7 to 8 hours if it's not needed. And then also, some people bleed a lot more overnight than they do throughout the day. Sometimes one tampon can't be holding all of that. So that's when it's time to put the, you know, big ass pad on, you know, have it all collect on the pad overnight. Just let your coochie breathe, you know, like let it flow naturally, at least for, you know, the nighttime if you can. Sometimes it can be a little bit easier. Maybe you just feel more comfortable wearing tampons to bed. But I just personally don't want to sleep with anything inside of me when I'm asleep. You know, at night I'm like, all right, it's time to put the pad on. It's time to relax, you know, not have to worry about changing my tampon, whatever. So these are the pads I use. These are the Always Radiant Flex Foam pads, and these are in the size regular. I get regular size tampons and regular size pad. Both are the smallest option that I'm aware of that they provide. That's just because my flow is normally not the heaviest. Thankfully, I'm very thankful for that. But this is what the packaging of the pads looked like. I always thought the packaging of feminine products were so cute before I even got my period. I feel like it make it feel a little less weird when, you know, the packaging is cute. Like, it looks like it was made for you. So I'm gonna show you guys what the pad looks like as well. So you open it up like this. These pads have like a fresh scent to them. It says light clean scent on the box. I'm not saying scented is like the best thing for that area ever, but when it comes to these pads, I literally got 2 huge boxes of these, so I'm not gonna throw them away. Like, I'm gonna continue to use them, but it's not something that I highly recommend you use. But when I tell you, it smells good. Like, it just smells really fresh. And even whenever it's time for me to change my pad, I still smell this fresh scent from these pads, which I feel like could just kind of, you know, help out a little bit. But I'm not saying it's like my first recommendation to you. But you open up the pad and this is what it looks like. So for me, the regular pads are really comfortable for me. I don't really feel them when they're on. I mean, I feel them. You can feel it's there, but it's not uncomfortable for me, and I can comfortably sleep with them. A mistake that I made in the past was whenever it was time to use a pad, I wouldn't use one with wings because I just thought it was weird. I was like, why does it have wings? But the reason that pads with wings are so helpful is because that way, whenever it's time to apply the pad, right? So I'm taking it off the package, and the back has like a slight adhesive to it so it sticks to your underwear easier. You take this off and you're gonna lay this on your underwear like so. I brought the red ones out for the thumbnail. So like, these aren't really gonna work out. Don't wear a pad like this. They make special pads for thongs. Don't wear a regular pad. Like, you would literally have this sticking to your butt crack. This isn't gonna work. But normally you would, you know, lay it like this, and then once it's on like the base of your underwear, you take the sticker off, or it's not really a sticker, just like a piece of paper, and it has these wings, right? And these wings are what's gonna fold underneath your underwear like this, and it keeps it safe and secure. So that way, not only is it going to keep the pad secured to your underwear, but also you may bleed a little more than you expect. And instead of using a pad that doesn't have wings and it having more of a chance of staining your underwear, this way it literally covers it all the way to the bottom. So it's a lot less likely for the pad to stain your underwear. And then whenever it's time to take the pad off, I would usually just, you know, rip it off my underwear. And then I fold it like this, wrap it in toilet paper, and throw it in the trash. Something I really recommend doing, like if you're in public and you're changing your tampon or pad, please, for the well-being of everybody else, please wrap that shit up. Please, if you are taking out your tampon, do not just throw it in the trash like that. Let's wrap it in some toilet paper so nobody else has to see it. You know, it is natural. A lot of us women go through this, but we don't want to see that. We don't. So let's just be respectful and cover up our feminine hygiene products before we throw them away. Also, never flush them down the toilet. They are not made to flush down the toilet ever. You have a chance of clogging your toilet, messing up your plumbing, and then, you know, there's people that manually have to remove these from like sewers, right? Anyways, that's my advice when it comes to that. But these pads are really good. It was only a couple weeks ago that I realized they do make pads and liners now. I think it was liners, but I'm sure they have pads too, where they get really thin towards the back, so like you can wear a thong with a pad. But I would still just prefer, you know, to wear a tampon for me, because I usually do wear thongs. So when I just have a tampon in, like I could just wear whatever underwear because I'm not worrying about a pad being up my ass crack. You know what I'm saying? And then lastly, I wanted to just show you guys these liners. When I was younger, I like barely knew the difference of what a liner and a pad were. I mean, if you have a really light flow and you can get away with just using one of these, you're a different breed, because actually, I don't know if anybody could do that. As you guys can see, this liner is a lot smaller than the pad I have right here. And liners are used for a couple of different reasons. The main reasons that I know and the main reasons that I will use a liner is, one, liners are good if you are wearing a tampon, but you're still, you know, just nervous that some blood could leak onto your underwear. Once the tampon gets full, it's going to, you know, start going down the string. It'll start to absorb into the string, and then next thing you know, it's in your underwear. That's why it's really important to change tampons. But if you are nervous about that, you can use a liner, which literally just looks like a mini pad. They're so cute. This is what the liner looks like, and it's the same concept as the pad. You just kind of get it, place it right on your underwear. But you can use a liner underneath your tampon as an add-on to your tampon if you're just nervous of any extra leaking, just to keep you extra safe. And then also, I like to use liners towards the end of my period, because towards the end of my period, the blood starts to calm down. You're not really bleeding nearly as much. I'm sorry the lighting keeps changing in this video. It's like really in and out. Coming towards the end of my period, I'm like barely bleeding, so I don't want to wear a big ass pad, and then I also don't want to wear a tampon with nearly to no blood, because then I'm going to be pulling out a dry tampon out of my coochie, and I really don't mind that. People will say it hurts, but for me, like, I really don't feel anything, but it's dry. It's not really serving a purpose. So that's when liners, you know, come in handy. But for me, how often you change your pad and your tampon really just depends on your flow. If you have a heavy flow, like a really heavy flow, you may want to do it like every hour, but some people that have a lighter flow maybe wait like 2 hours. You know, sometimes honestly, don't let people make it seem like people just never forget to change it. Sometimes you just get really busy throughout the day, you have a lot going on, and the last thing you are thinking about is changing your tampon. That does not make you nasty. I'm not saying it's the best option, and I'm not saying it's clean, but it happens. Don't put yourself down, or don't make yourself feel guilty for like forgetting every couple hours. Like, that happens. But maybe to help remind you to change it, you could set an alarm, you know, set a reminder, like, all right, let's kind of, you know, switch things up. I would always just recommend whatever you like to use, whether it's pads, tampons, liners. I mean, some people use other options like the Diva Cup method, things like that. But if you are using products like this, keep them on you, keep them in your bag, keep them in your wallet, wherever you can, because of course, whenever you're out and about, if you have them with you, you know, there's a higher chance like you're gonna change them every couple of hours. So that's what I would recommend. So yeah, that's pretty much it when it comes to pads and tampons. I explained my preference and just any other advice I had about them. So the next thing we're gonna talk about is cramping. I know some of y'all got pissed just listening to me say that, because when I tell y'all, some of us girls go through some crazy cramps. Like, when I tell y'all, some of y'all are champs, warriors for dealing with the cramps that you do. And sometimes not only do people experience cramps, well, first of all, a lot of us experience breast pain. I know for me, whenever my period is coming up, my boobs get so sore, like they literally feel like somebody was just punching them overnight, and then I wake up and it literally feels like I got beat up. Like, my boobs just hurt so bad. And not only are they super sore, but they start to get, you know, they get a little bigger, you know, they start to swell a little bit, and they're just really sensitive. For me, that's when I know I'm about to start my period. I think a majority of us have, whether it's just like a feeling, whether it's your boobs being sore, your back hurting, you know, getting cramped, different things like that. I didn't mention everything, but those are just a few ways that some people are able to realize, like, oh shit, my period is coming. I mean, a lot of people got their shit tracked on an app. That helps really well. I should really be doing that, but I keep forgetting. I'm gonna do it this time around, because sis, like, I don't even remember like when I got my period last month. It's always around the same time, but I can't remember the day, and that would really help me out because I have somewhere to be. I would just like to know, because tampons really be switching up plans sometimes. So I'm just trying to know, and I don't remember, and that's on me. But these cramps can be killer. For me personally, my cramps are the worst day 1. I can feel them day 2. And by day 3, I don't have any cramps. I almost feel guilty saying that, because I know a lot of y'all have it so bad. But personally, for me, that's just how my cramps are. My cramps usually aren't terrible, but sometimes on day 1, they are horrible. It really just depends. But things that I would recommend to help manage cramps, and things that I do to help me feel better. First of all, you know, the one and only ibuprofen, Advil, anything of that nature that you like to use, you know, whenever you're in pain, you know, you're aching. Ibuprofen usually always has my cramps go away. If I take 2, within like 30 minutes to an hour, they're not nearly as bad, if even still there. I realize that works a lot for me, but for some people it literally does not work at all, which sucks. But that's usually like my first go-to whenever I'm starting to have cramps. So another thing that I recommend if you are looking for something that's a little more natural, peppermint tea. Peppermint tea is known to just soothe your stomach and also help get rid of cramps. I've tried this before and it most definitely helps. If ibuprofen or anything in that nature is not helping, I'll definitely recommend some peppermint tea. Another thing that I like to use when I'm on my period and I'm dealing with cramps is a heating pad. I think a lot of us know this by now. I think a majority of this know this by now, and if not, let me put you on. That would always help me get rid of my cramps, you know, like laying on a heating pad. It just feels so good on your stomach and it's comforting. Like it's like a warm little blanket. It just makes you feel so good. And then also, you know, just like use a heating pad while watching some Netflix or something, you know, do something or watch something that's gonna help you get your mind off of the pain along with a heating pad. Wait about 30 minutes to an hour. It's so weird because whenever I'm on my period and my cramps are really bad, certain positions are literally just dreadful to be in, and one of them is laying on my back. Like there's just certain positions that I can't do when I'm on my period because it makes them so much worse and just unbearable. My go-to position when I'm in my period and my cramps are bad is curling in a ball. When I tell you this is the best position to be in when you're on your period, like I literally curl up in a ball. So those are usually my go-tos when I'm having really bad cramps. Oh, also water. Water is so important to be drinking all the time, but especially when you're on your period, it is so important to be drinking water, flushing out your body. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to be putting you guys onto when it comes to periods is the products besides the actual feminine hygiene products that I like to use on my period. The products I actually use to keep myself clean, keep myself fresh, ways I like to, you know, stay smelling good while I'm on my period. Besides like perfume, lotion, you know, all of our body products, I'm talking about things I literally use on my coochie to keep that fresh. So the first thing I recommend, before I show you any products, the first thing I recommend is showering at least twice a day. It's the best thing you can do to get rid of, you know, any blood that doesn't need to be sitting there, any odor, anything like that. We need to actually be showering, you know, washing with soap and water. This is your best bet for eliminating the smell. I don't know how often you guys like usually like to shower in a day, but when it comes to your period, I typically shower twice a day anyways, but I feel like it's really important to shower a little more frequently whenever you're on your period if you're trying to stay fresh. So when it comes to actually being in the shower, you know, we want to wash our cooch. So a lot of people just rinse with water and that's completely fine. A lot of people don't like to use any products and that's completely fine, but for me personally, I do like to use something. So I've tried multiple different products to clean my vagina. I've never went to Summer's Eve other than a product I'm about to show you guys. I've never used like the Summer's Eve soap, but I have used Dove sensitive soap. I've used Dove white soap. I've just used different Dove soaps to clean my vagina. But what I like to use in my coochie, you know, what I like to actually use to cleanse the area, Honey Pot love. Honey Pot has such good feminine hygiene products. This is the best product I've ever used down there. Y'all trying to smell good down there, y'all trying to smell fresh, you know, this is where it's at. I'm gonna say my very favorite reason, it's the grammar for me. My favorite reason that I use the soap is that it's a black owned brand. First of all, not only is it a black owned brand, but it was created by women. Like it says on the package, it says made by humans with vaginas for humans with vaginas. If anybody's going to make a product for the female anatomy, it should be females. I don't even know if like men have ever made feminine hygiene products, but I mean obviously men don't really get the anatomy of the vagina anyways. I think a lot of us can speak for that in itself. So this just makes it 10 times better. So this is what the product looks like. The camera's super exposed for no reason, but this is what I use. And they had two different options. They had like a regular version and then they also had a sensitive version. I got the sensitive version just because the vagina is a sensitive area by itself. So just why not get the sensitive version? So this is personally what I like to use. It's paraben free, doesn't have any harsh chemicals in it. It's plant-based, 100% natural, cruelty free, sulfate free, super gentle down there. It doesn't really have too much of a scent. It just smells really fresh and clean. That's really the only way I can explain it, but it's not a strong scent. But when I tell you this shit is so fire, I would never go back. And they also have wipes. I'm gonna need to hop onto them wipes. I don't have them, but they do also have wipes, which I feel like would be a great way to keep yourself fresh throughout the day while you're on your period. You know, if you're wiping, instead of using toilet paper, that dry ass shit that's literally just gonna get stuck in your cooch. Like, so this is what I like to use whenever I'm in the shower to keep my coochie fresh. So the two other products I like to use to keep my coochie fresh on my period, I'll be using these products even when I'm not on my period, but they're very important while on your period. Some wipes. Baby wipes are great when it comes to your period, especially, I don't care what you're doing in the toilet. If you wipe with baby wipes instead of toilet paper, it just feels so clean when you use baby wipes. If I'm taking a shit, I'm using baby wipes because there is no way that some dry ass, ashy ass, thin ass toilet paper is going to get rid of all the poop particles on my ass. I am not gonna feel clean. I'm not going to feel comfortable. I'm not gonna feel done wiping until I use baby wipes. I'm not about to put my thong back in my ass crack before I use baby wipes. There's just no way. Baby wipes are where it's at. I just personally feel so clean when I'm using baby wipes to wipe. Whether it's pee, whether it's, you know, doo-doo, whether it's blood, baby wipes are the way to go. They're really inexpensive. I mean, they're not the best for the earth. I'm not setting a good example there. But when it does come to cleaning your cooch, it's, you know, they're great. If you don't want to use baby wipes, you can always jump in the shower, get a washcloth, whatever you want to do. But personally, I do use baby wipes. So the last product that I like to use to keep my area fresh, this is the only Summer's Eve product I've ever used. I've had this in another scent before, but I just stopped using it for whatever reason. But when I tell you this scent is bomb, this is the Summer's Eve Blissful Escape Freshening Spray. This is a 5-in-1. This is what it looks like, right? Cute. It says it's going to neutralize odors. It's going to absorb moisture. It won't disrupt your natural pH. I don't know how true that is, to be honest, but I haven't had any issues with it. It's talc free and it's clinically tested safe scents. We love to see it. Once again, I don't know how accurate that is. I may not be speaking facts. This shit works. I really like this. Like after I take a shower, you know, I'm in the shower using my wash, getting things clean inside and out. I'll, you know, go out, get out the shower, pat dry, you know, get it dry. Don't leave moisture in it that's not naturally coming out of it, because that's just another gateway to stench. Once it's nice and dry, you're gonna get some of this and you spray it from a distance. Don't spray it right in there. You're just gonna spray it from a distance. You don't need to open anything up. You just go like, you know, you just need one little spray. It smells like tropical paradise, but like faint. Like it's not like you literally sprayed perfume up your vagina. It's just like a faint tropical scent. It actually smells bomb as hell. It's kind of more of like a powdery fruity scent, but not like nasty powder. It's like really good. I'm not saying you have to use products like this, but I just personally like to use it and I think it works really well. I don't use it all the time, but if I know I'm gonna be by myself, I ain't got any plans, I'm gonna use this because I don't really know like what this be making things like. Let me stop. So guys, that is all the advice that I have for you guys. You know, when it comes to periods, what I like to do to stay fresh, stay clean, ways that you can maybe feel more comfortable on your period, both physically and mentally. Honestly, periods should be such a light topic to talk about. Like, girl, we got vajayjays. We all got vaginas. We're bleeding from our vaginas. I mean, some women, not all women bleed from their vaginas. It's okay. We all got blood coming out our coochies when it's due. Nothing to be ashamed of. Tampon, whatever, you know, pad, whatever. You need a tampon, here you go. You need a pad, here you go. Like, it is no issue. Nothing to be ashamed of. Honestly, I really like talking about this type of stuff. So if you guys would like me to speak more about things like this on my channel, feel free to let me know on Instagram, because I'm sure my comments on this video will be disabled due to YouTube for no reason. But it's okay. That's why I got my spam account on Instagram. That's why I got my personal, so I can still connect with you guys whenever I'm not on YouTube. But yeah, guys, that is gonna be it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have got all the way to the end of this video and you have not subscribed yet, please make sure to do so. Also, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe. I love you all so much. You are all beautiful. You are all wanted. You are all loved. If it's gonna be by anyone, it's gonna be by me. You guys are important. You guys are needed, and I love you. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.